Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast out of NRL Supercoach round 21, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams. The major buy period is done and dusted. The run home has officially begun as we edge towards creating a 2024 new overall champion. Here to help us find who that new overall champion will be and to help them get to that point of glory. 2021's 91st place finish at the SC Spire. Spire, what's happening, mate?
All for the people now, mate, because I tell you what, ever since going to Cooma with you 2 weeks ago, I've hit the skids. It's all going pretty well. I wasn't going to win this year, but I was sort of tracking at a rate I was like pretty happy with, looking at a pretty good finish. Last weekend wasn't great. This weekend, holy dooly. Good trade. My first one went down really well. Damien Cook over to Watson. Connor Watson, that went well. He got Simbin. Cook got about 110. Kicked 7 from 8. Try assist off a drop ball from the winger. I was like, thanks for coming, guys. Awesome. So that was no good. Really, really close to going Sammy Walker to Nathan Cleary, and I just couldn't do it with that 190 and the hammy. Like, it made sense. Well, it wasn't stupid stuff, but that was another 80 or 90 points. And then Tommy Turbo destroyed us. Obviously, I know we've got it in him, but he hasn't shown that sort of, I guess, like that real explosiveness in terms of just bang, 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 give me the ball, we're on for a while now. So chose a great time to do it with 30% ownership and captaincy or whatever it was, and put me to the sword. So, yeah, down to 6,000 flat now. Look, it's not horrible. It's an okay season, but the old top 1K finish is dwindling away from me at the moment, mate. So we might have to just keep our distance for a few weeks.
Jeez, talk about accountability over at Spy HQ. It took you 3 seconds to blame it on a car ride with me to Cooma.
Well, what's the variable for this season?
Oh.
It was all going well till then.
The variable is don't follow the bloke that doesn't have a hot hand this season.
No, I didn't follow you. I was just saying, just being near you hurt me. That was more the point of it.
Look, I can't argue. And the Cooma Stallions, it was kind of like just like a boxing bag that's fallen off the hinges, and then there's just a bunch of kids who've just started laying into it on the ground. It's like it's already dead. Let it go.
Where are the lollies, mum? Whack, whack, whack.
1,052 points for the Stallions this week. Dropped to 14K overall. I can't believe I'm saying it. I'm ashamed of it, but we're all about accountability here. It's
not here to hide.
We're not here to hide, mate. We're all about accountability at Stallions HQ. There's no way to step around it, tiptoe around it. But like all great franchises, mate, we're just in a rebuilding phase. All clubs go through it, and the Stallions are doing it at the moment. And as I said, we're a foundation that is set up on accountability. So I'm here to blame Nico Hines. I'm here to blame Sean Lane and the blokes who haven't supported their coach, who's put in tireless work all season to get them on the board.
And they'll know about it.
And they'll know about it. They're not performing.
Yeah, won't be back.
It's got nothing to do with the decision makers up top.
Not at all. Front office is not a thing.
I do think about, like, when if we do have a tough week, it's got to be good hearing it from people out there going, oh, these guys claim to be pretty good at this game, and they're sitting there with their 1400s and their 1500s.
Not good times at the moment. Tough couple. I also captained Teddy. Just to put the
ouch.
the icing on the cake, so that went well.
So my real dagger for the weekend, to start this whole podcast on a very somber note today, my one was just that I've just preached about for about 6 weeks that post-origin period I wanted Reece Walsh, thinking the Broncos would fly home and just put up a fight. And I looked at it and I changed my mind, not even after the back of Origin. I watched Origin, watched him limp around and how sore he looked and injured. And I went, okay, he's probably going to back up for the first place. Then sort of news came out that he was carrying a few little things. I'm like, okay, I can go what looks to be a fully fit Ryan Pappenhausen, who toughened in the Roosters last week, but into 3 really good weeks coming up. Goes out, plays the Roosters, scores 30 points. Monday morning, he's getting injections in his foot every week to get through the games. I'm like,
thanks for that. I'll give you something. You did call me, Saturday morning, I think. You're away on a pretty big weekend, and before things got fun for you, like, look, well, he limps around anyway, and then when he needs to go, he goes. So do I just do it? And I think I actually said, I just don't know. I really don't know. Like, can you hold the trade? What can you do? I think you needed the player. And then here's who we blame. We'll blame a Queenslander. NRL physio said, I'm not getting him anymore because I'm too worried about in-game aggravation. I'm like, well, that's good enough for me. He gets everything right, and he came out and absolutely brained it. So, yeah, it certainly summed up your year in more ways than one, the old Saturday night game.
We're all about accountability here. It was Physio's fault.
Cop that, Fizz. Still love you.
The best in the business, Physio.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Also with us, a bloke whose score we're not quite yet. We spent the last 25 minutes. If this gets out late tonight, it's because Matty, the Waterboy, was looking for his phone. It was wedged in the side of the chair. Matty, how are you, mate? Give us some more promising news. Bring the spirits up.
Can't help you there, unfortunately. So I texted you on maybe Thursday or Friday when the Dylan Edwards news come through, saying, I basically said, I've held Edwards this whole time because I wanted to have him, but now news has come through that he's out for a month, or 2 to 4 weeks it was at that point. Should I get rid of him? And you were like, yeah, probably. And I was like, yeah, I thought that, but I just needed confirmation. But then I'd already made my trades, and my team, and I was going to trade him to Turbo, and my team was like, I could feel a full team anyway. So I was like, and I liked my other 2 trades. So I was like, I guess I can just leave it for this week and I'll just do it next week. And then obviously, yeah, Turbo scored like 1 million points. So
He's also, there was a positive note from the weekend. Obviously, firstly, boys, up the Blues. Haven't seen you since then.
Oh, how was that?
Flying on the punt and the Forestville Ferrets 4 in a row on the weekend. So we're flying into finals calculations. So
what's coincided with their 4 in a row revival?
It's hard to say.
spy?
By today, you'll have to read the papers. I'm not sure, mate.
You've taken your Supercoach form over to the Ferrets.
No, we're going well. The team's going well.
Just to add to it too, I went to Brookie to watch the Manly game on the weekend, and I knew that in my head I was like, hopefully Turbo doesn't go that well. And I was with my girlfriend's little brother, who last time he was here, Turbo was my captain. And then when he scored his first try, he was like, oh, isn't he your Supercoach captain? I'm like, no, he's not.
No, he's
not.
And what I was going to say, before I got sidetracked, was in the sheds, I've checked my phone twice in the sheds just before we go out to warm up. First time was JMK did his ankle, which was our foot, utter disaster. I was like, oh, bloody hell, yeah, go out and play. This time was, I'll just check how Cleary's going 5 minutes in. You already had try assist, line break assist, goal. I'm like, oh, man. And then I came back, and I think after the game, Manly had just started. So they were like 25 minutes in. Titans are up 8-0. I'm like, you beauty. Turned my phone off. And then once I got home a bit later on, I poured myself a post-game whiskey and started watching. And I was just like, oh, man, this is not good.
Tough going. Tough going. Anyway, we move on, mate. We keep the chin up and we fight. We fight for credibility because that's all you can do at this point. You're doing all right. I'll tell you who is going well. Bryce's boys, coached by not Bryce, but Blake.
I did see that today.
Yeah, don't make sense of that. But he's leading Supercoach overall, and he's also leading the SC Playbook Unlimited League. So absolutely firing. The Hindsights, coached by John, also with a big week, has jumped into second. So the boys are absolutely flying. And a few little notes before we get into it. We're going to start with one of them. If you thought my weekend was frustrating as it was, SC Playbook Instagram. The overlords at Instagram do not like us. The account is inaccessible at the moment for no evident reason. Don't know who's been prodding around on it, Spy, but cannot get into it as of last Thursday. So if there's any Meta, Instagram, people with insights who can help us out, it would be greatly appreciated.
Need a contact.
And then anyone who's sitting there going, oh, Tim's been he's been quiet on Twitter as well. He's throwing the toys out of the cot. I've also been hacked on that and can't get access to that. So I haven't thrown the toys out of God. I just can't get into them. But
when it rains, it pours.
Next up, Bundy Mixer, the SC Playbook code for this year's Bundy Mixer. It starts this weekend a bit earlier this season than last, combining the best of the NRL and the NRLW, and it runs through finals is the best thing. So when we're finished with our season fix, we get it through finals as well, which very exciting. The code for that one is QFO89TRZ. Jump into that and take us on. Finally, if you'd like to get a leg up into your head-to-head final, subscribe to scplaybook.com.au. That gets you access to extra premium articles each and every week of the season, access to our WhatsApp group with late mail threads, team advice, contributor chat for our updated trade and skipper plans over the weekend. On top of that, you'll be supporting the site and the podcast for all the time and effort that goes into putting it all together. The price has dropped to $30 for the rest of the season, so to do so, access the menu on our website. And finally, as a part of that, Spy, to the SC Playbook subscribers, I dropped it in our group last night, but an end-of-season catch-up. We're going to meet up at a pub. I'm thinking around 27. We'll confirm with details thinking a little Super Saturday to get everyone together to say thank you for the season, get as many of the contributors there as we can and have a beer, say good day and watch the Stallions rise to the top 1K.
Yeah, good. Battle mono, top 950, me v you.
Hopefully have a few of the higher ranked ones up there as well, around that top 5, top 10 that we can really get excited
We
about
might
them on
just
that
have to
Saturday.
get the top 10 some chairs and everyone can just buy them beers and get them through.
Beers might be on us
pretty fun
if
to
you're
watch.
sitting top 10
If
going
you're
in
sitting
that.
top 10,
So,
yeah.
guys, keep an eye out for that one. We'll reveal all the details in the WhatsApp group. If you're not actually in the WhatsApp group, we'll sort that later, closer to the end of the season, but our details will be coming. Now, let's get into it. On today's show, Team This Tuesday analysis. Casey McLean locks in a spot at the Panthers. Do we jump on at the Penrith Panthers cheapie or not? Topic for the show, our pods and anti-pod plays for the run home. The low ownership players to give you an edge or avoiding the highly owned players. How are we looking about differentiating our sides from others in the final weeks of the competition? Hot topics and one for you, Spy, later on. Jayden Campbell, the most sold player. Really surprised me, this one, seeing this one. So is he a sell? Is he not? Big talking point. We'll get to that later on. We'll drop out around 21, trades and skippers. Listener questions, who to trade to Cleary? Everyone's asking, is it Campbell? Is it Brown? Is it Galvin? Who gets the chop? We'll get to that later. Spy Team List Tuesday, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck named at fullback. Charlton Cookstad out still with a calf injury. Tane Tuipiki is out with a head knot from last week. Roger probably only gets 1 week at fullback, but he also moved to the wing last week as well, where he was a little bit enticing. Look, you probably got to think longer term than short term, but taking on a Tigers outfit without Dewey, Caesar, Clemmer, Bateman and the rest, looks a one-sided matchup for the Wars.
At fullback, Wales back at home, must win. Look, last Friday was a dagger, just another good one. That was good for you. At least the Raiders got one for you there.
Yeah, we got something.
But the Wars, heartbreaking there. So, whilst they're not looking good, they're still in the hunt, so they need a win. Simple as that. Roger, we'll put it like this. They go home, they beat the Tigers convincingly. If that unfolds, are they really going to change Roger from fullback? I'm not so sure. I'm a huge Tane Tuipiki fan, but Roger's Roger. And if their season's on the line, it might just be a case of, you're at the back, mate, let's do it. See what happens. See, I'm somewhat tempted. You've got to have some trades up the sleeve. But as you said, he also went to the wing last week. He'll have a heap of runs at that price. Pretty tempting stuff. He's
much better on the wing than he will be at centre. So, as I said, it's an enticing move with a lot of upside. He's very cheap. As I said, I expect him to go and put a score on the Tigers at home this weekend, and maybe they do keep him there. The big one will be around Nickel Cookstad and when he returns. Not a lot of certainty around that and the calf injury, but we'll see if we can get some more news on that throughout the week.
On the Tigers, hypothetically, Appy goes to the bench at some stage this weekend for a little spell, potentially. Their whole spine could be, I think, under 20. It's pretty close, which is insane. Hooker, halfback, 5'8", fullback.
Yeah.
And maybe one of those boys is like 20 or 21, but they could all be under 20, which is saying something.
Exciting for the future.
Exciting for the future, but hard for now.
Yeah, with Caesar at Latu Fainu joins Lockie Galvin in the halves. Ruben Porter starts on the edge. Isaiah Papali'i returns at lock. Appy Coruscant at hooker with Talon De Silva on the bench. So watch that space around Appy Coruscant. The Parramatta Eels, Bryce Cartwright and Sean Lane have been named to start on the edges with Ryan Madison at lock. Charlie Geimer, the popular cheapie from a few weeks back. One of them ones where you go, he's out for the season, Guyman, which is a shame, looked promising in very minimal game time thus far. He was about 15 or so % Spy amongst the top 10% overall ranked teams. Just one of them ones who could have been a handy number. It's another one bites the dust.
Gone now, but yeah, at least he's bottom dollar and you don't have to trade him. You just leave him there now.
Yeah. Cameron Munster named on the extended bench for the Melbourne Storm. 698k, a break even of 143. Let's say he comes in this week, drops some good cash. Sneaky little super pod for the run home.
Oh, if he looks good, yeah. See how he looks on his feet. The big one for me there is Jerome Hughes, how it will affect him. So keen to see how that all plays out.
Could be curtains as well. If Cam Munster comes back, I'd imagine Tyron Wishart moves to the bench in that 14 role. Watch that space. Also, big one of the Cowboys. It hasn't yet unfolded, but Val Holmes named on the wing. So Murray Taulagi is named on the extended bench as he looks to return from a hamstring injury. So I don't think it'll be a permanent move. I suspect even if Murray Taulagi comes in, Holmes goes to centre, Viliami Vailea or young Jackson Purdue, who looks the goods, 18-year-old. That'll how it'll unfold. But Val on the wing for that Cowboys side, he could explode.
Gotta love that. Cowboys right edge, could Taulagi maybe go across there? Val stay wing? I'm not sure, because
Potentially.
Purdue's a gun. He's doing some good stuff.
Like-
I haven't watched him really closely, but every week he seems to be stepping up.
They'd have to put Tuilagi at centre or drop Kyle Felt, which I just don't think is going to happen.
Yeah.
But Val Holmes is exciting on the wing.
Oh, prime territory. Is
Yeah.
somewhat quiet last weekend, but so is nearly every Origin player. It's pretty hard to back up from that brutal affair.
With Scotty Drinkwater feeding in those long balls, come at us.
Worst spots to be.
At the Sharkies, Will Kennedy suspended. Liam Ison debuts at fullback, fresh out of Jersey Flegg.
Wow.
From Jersey Flegg to the Panthers, he was behind Dylan Edwards. And then, again, it's another... I don't know if he was originally Sharkies or if he was Sharkies to Panthers, but another bloke out of the Panthers system. So watch him come on and score a
He
hat-trick.
probably goes all right then, yeah.
Yeah, fair chance. At the Manly Warringah Seagulls, Lehigh Hopewadi out injured. Ben Trebojevic moves to centre. Tommy Talau to the wing. And at the Titans, AJ Brimson nowhere to be seen again. So just can't take a trick, AJ Brimson. Anyone who held on to Keanu Kinney, good news for owners of him. Now, Spy, topic for today's show, pods and antipods. We're looking at point of difference players owned, sub 10% ownership overall among the top 10% ranked teams in Supercoach. The ones that if you're looking for an edge on the run home, you don't want to follow the crowd, we're going to do the pods, then we're going to do the antipods. The antipods is these high ownership players. You go, you know what? I want to sell these. I don't think they're going to finish that strong and I want to get away from this player or this player. So let's start with pods, mate. Kick us off.
There are so many.
There's
Went
a
through
lot.
today. This is very, very exciting. I'm going to just go slightly outside the parameters and start at 14% just because it's a big one.
Yep.
I've also done top 5%, but it won't differ much between the top 10% of players. It's Payne Haas at 14%. No words. We don't need to say why that is, but the fact is at 14 means if you can get to him and you want to get on someone with Brisbane flying home and looking for finals, looks pretty good to me.
Well, I'll jump ahead to, it's a play that it feels right, but is it a trade worth making this time of the season? And it's Terrell May at 61% ownership now. I don't want to bring up old wounds for you and being hurt by Terrell Spy, but...
I'm past it.
But,
hit me with it.
But with a buy to come this season, as I said, 61% ownership. Jabril Hargreaves obviously out still. He played 45 minutes on the weekend, which is pretty good. I think Terrell only needs that many to score well, but I would love to be able to get Payne Haas. I'm just sitting there with Curran, Fainu and Terrell May. I'm probably pretty happy to play. Like Curran was a beast on the weekend in big minutes with Max King out. So when you have... I don't really want to play a third front row each week anyway, and I can sit there and play Terrell May and Curran as well. I just don't really want to bring another front rower, but he's a different beast, Payne Haas, isn't he? And I just think he's in for a massive finish to the year.
Or I'll skip ahead and bit of a spoiler. Terrell May is on my antipods list, and it's just because he's so highly owned. And if he's only going to be playing 45, I agree, he's definitely going to do a job for you. We know what he can do. He's got tries in him, but with that pack and the Roosters building towards finals, maybe his minutes sort of peter back, and if you can get to Payne Haas, could be huge.
Terrell May could easily average that 50 to 55 if none of those attacking stats come, which we know he's capable of.
He'd probably average around that regardless.
Yeah.
Like, do a good job for you.
Yeah.
But Payne Haas.
Payne Haas could average 85.
Also, Terrell could get arrested at any point if Roosters
They
are
have
winning.
a buy to come.
Yep, by a couple of weeks. I quite like it. Obviously, you need the trades to be able to do it. But if you're sitting there with trades up your sleeve and wondering where you could go, looks pretty good to me.
I can do it if I want, so food for thought. My first one, Spy, Isaiah Yeo at 8.5% ownership. I sit back and applaud Ivan Cleary for resting his players. He's learnt his lesson from previous years. He did it again. He did it last year and rested them. He backed a few of them up, I believe, after Origin 1. Or he backed a couple of them up. Might have only been Yeo off the bench and maybe one other.
Not much, yeah.
I know that the Penrith Panthers are privileged in a position to do this. I get it. Because they're so good. They know they'll finish top 2 or top 4, whatever it might be. But like watching the Roosters back up all their players and then even seeing that after the game, I know it was mountains out of molehills, but by the media... But Angus Crichton going for scans from the crush or whatever it was. And then Harry Grant backing up with a sternum injury. I'm just like, Boys, you're going to be top 4. Why do it?
I know.
However, Isaiah Yeo comes back, freshened up from a spell. He had a few rests after Origin, 8.5% ownership, 614k. He's got a season average of 71 points and a 5-round average of just 60 points, which has brought that season average down off the back of reduced minutes through Origin, buggered after Origin, all these sorts of things. Oh, he's a serious player, Isaiah Yeo.
Just knock out 70 average week in, week out. I was talking to one of the Kuma boys, Mooney, who writes articles, and we're like, he scores like between the same 3 points every week. It's like 67 to 70. Like, thanks for coming.
Yeah. Mooney's writer of the weekly wrap. He's a Kuma boy. Switched on fella, funny fella. I think we've got him on the show in coming weeks.
Beautiful.
So looking forward to that one. But yes, Isaiah, I don't mind that. Again, he's almost one more for the higher rank to lock in a pod that'll knock you out minimum 65, 70. Could have higher ones in him. For myself, I need blokes with ceilings. I need to make some serious jumps. But only if you're higher ranked. Isaiah's a great little player.
Just lock in 70.
Hit us.
Reid Marnie, 12%. Didn't go as well on the weekend, but he's playing massive minutes for the Doggies. Good run home, vying for finals. He looks sneaky to me. I don't mind him in the hooking position. Not much more to add on it. It's just one to look at, I think, if you haven't done it yet.
It's a weird one, the hooking position, isn't it? It's just like, even I think you mentioned to me leading into the weekend, Reid Marnie, and said he's going well, like sort of being overlooked. It might have been you, might have been someone else.
I think I was saying that, yeah.
I was like, yeah, he is and read his numbers. He's going well, and then he comes out and knocks out, was it mid-30s or something?
I think he updated to 45 or something.
Yeah, it's just a position you're really reluctant to make trades on at the moment. Like, I'm still really keen on Connor Watson. He came out and got mid-30s on the weekend. It's just like...
Jeez, the chooks hate me.
So, yeah, look, I still think due to upside, I would go Connor Watson over Marnie.
1,000,000% Connor over Marnie, but yeah.
For me, mate, I might let you talk about this one because I'm sick of it, but I couldn't go past his name there. Everyone's going to Tom Trebojevic. Everyone owns James Tedesco. Reece Walsh at 5.2% ownership.
Reece, love him.
Could have had 150 plus on the weekend.
There's nothing to add except he's an absolute weapon. He's a freak. He's coming off a disappointing Origin series where he'll be fired up and wanting to prove himself a bit. He was electric last week, and it looked like he'd been given the keys just to be like, mate, don't worry about your errors anymore. Just let's hum. Let's see what happens. And whew,
it just made me.
Was good.
It makes me crook, and I'm like, I was actually happy enough to cop a lower one from Pappy versus the Roosters v Reece Walsh versus the Knights because of the next 3 games came for Pappenhausen.
Yeah.
But with this foot issue coming out, and that terrifies you. I'm like, I've sort of got to stick to the guns. I think it's 3 awesome weeks for Pappenhausen.
This week's the telling one versus Para. You'll know where he's at.
If he's fit and good, he goes 100 plus.
Could do anything.
If he's not, he doesn't.
Reece, I'd love to own him, and I may well. Reynolds' back is critical for him. Yes, he doesn't kick, but he doesn't have to jump in and organise. He can just get in his positions. Reynolds will put him in out the back where he needs to be, and thanks for coming. And he is taking a bit more ownership on that left edge, on Mam's edge as well, so... Reece Walsh.
He's going to go nuts, and I just... Anyway, carry on.
On to the next one. Zachy Lomax down to 11%. Saints in the fight for the 8. Going pretty well. I like him. We all know what he's done this year. There's no reason he can't keep doing something similar.
3 weeks' time. Not yet. Have you seen the draw?
I haven't, no.
Okay, so...
I definitely haven't deep dive into these blokes individually, but yeah.
There are 2 blokes that I have set for about... I mean, Lomax touch and go, but he's on my watch list. But they go the Panthers, Storm, Bulldogs, then the last 4 rounds they go Titans, Sharks, Eels, Raiders. Yep. So you wouldn't touch him in the next 3 weeks at 800k, break even 148, but he could bottom out nicely around the late 600, 700 by that point.
Last month, that's why I'm trying to save my trades for blokes like that. So Zachy Lomax sitting there. Well, I'm on a roll, go 2 wingers in a row. Brian To'o. 7%, very expensive. But I mean, that's why he's a pod.
Yes.
Do you want to maybe have a crack at him? Could be worth it.
You'd need a war chest up your sleeve to do it.
Oh, you would.
It's a lot of money, and there's also a lot of really good CTW buys around the 600-700k. It's a lot of money, but the Panthers' run home is very good. Their only tough game in that run is the Melbourne Storm, and even that's in Penrith.
It's a crazy run.
He could go very big. And the one thing about paying up for a bloke like Brian To'o at 866k, people avoid him because of the price. If he does come out and go ham and he's all of a sudden 950k, no one can get him.
You own him alone with the other, 7%. So, yeah. as you said, you need a bit of a war chest, but if you've made money on someone, maybe you look at doing that.
Yeah. My lucky last one. A bloke I owned last year. I know the Roo is on this fella. Jesse Ramian. 1.1% ownership. He's averaging 65 this season. He's got a 3-round average of 81 points. He has a 3-round base of 49 points.
Whoa.
I'm still a little bit sceptical with Nico Hines out that Braden Trindle and the left edge are going to get a lot more ball, but Daniel Atkinson's a very good footballer. He's capable of getting Ramian good ball. We saw in their last game against the Tigers, both edges did see decent ball. It's a really soft draw for the Sharks.
Yeah, for me, Ramian, he's not going to let you down. Goodbye. He just doesn't have the ceiling. So at this stage of the year, he's a consolidation piece where you can just really lock a bloke in and you can rely on, but does he have any really big scores? What's he got?
He had a 115 earlier in the year.
115. Second highest score of sort of 88.
Yeah.
I think he's a really solid buy without being elite. So
Yeah.
he's probably a no for me. But yeah, I can understand why you'd have some interest.
A couple more you had jotted down on your list.
I'll jot a few down. I won't take too long. But Jason Saab, 3%. Right edge Manly. Where else would you want to be? Plenty of pace. He puts him in space. They are humming on that right edge. So.
I mean, it's... You just feel like a broken record. Tommy's the key, isn't he?
Yep.
Tommy's fit and firing.
Yep.
Why not?
Garrick's firing. Olakwatu's back soon. Cherry. Not a bad spot to be, Jay Saab, but obviously low scores in him given his
I
work
couldn't
rate.
touch him with a 50-foot pole, but I get it.
He might be a little last 2-3 round play maybe.
The worst thing about that is if Tommy goes down, he's just gone. But
Yeah.
anyway.
Anyways, Trindle's 3%, worth a look, coming off a big ton. Tommy Starling, got about 65, 70 again last week. If you're desperate for a hooker there, pretty cheap still. Seems to have some minutes in him, but that's Ricky Roulette there. Wade Egan's similar in that he looked really good again last weekend, but very injury prone. Just for those that may need a hooker or something.
Yeah.
Not someone I'd necessarily chase at all, but if you're in need there, it could be good. Kalen Ponga, 2.3%. We've spoken about it, certainly in the car, maybe on the pod, but tough couple of weeks. They got, is it Bye then Penrith coming up?
Yeah.
I believe. But after that, lock and load, and he kicked the last two goals last weekend.
Then comes into the Tigers, Sharks, Rabbitohs, Titans, Dolphins. 3 of those games were at McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle. And we'll get to our trades later, and we'll get to Tom Trbojevic, which is the most traded-in player, but for those running a Teddy-Tom Trbojevic combination, who's going to sell either of those with 4 or 5 rounds to go to get to Ponga? Ponga's also 686k now with a break-even of 102. He's probably going to be at 650k after that Panthers game. I sit there and go, if you can hold off on him, you might get Ponga and all those Turbo and Teddy owners, like, hard to move on from either of them.
Yep. And the only risk there is if Knights don't win a few more, they might shut him down for Fletcher Sharp. That would make sense. But you know what? It's KP at 2.
Shut him down.
Oh, just late in the year, if they're not in the hunt for finals, because they're forward back now during those last 2-3 weeks.
It's not even about that. I think regardless, he'll be there. He's missed too many games this year that he won't be put on ice, I don't think.
Yeah, but just worth a thought. But either way, that doesn't deter me. Kalen's coming into my side after the Penrith match,
Especially
barring something changing.
Those last 2 games against the Titans and Dolphins at home, like, wow. He's not going to want to be missing those games after missing that massive, massive chunk throughout the season.
That's fair because it's not like he's played all year and he's better than Bruce. So, yep, fair call there. Jacob Preston at Bulldogs. I reckon he's a huge buy, 1.9%. Just go look at his numbers when he does play his big minutes. He's a try scorer. Great run for the Dogs.
No upside though, really, is there?
I reckon there is.
Yeah?
Yeah. Let's pull him up. Have a look. Go to last year.
Oh, God.
Go to this year.
We don't have enough time.
That's right. Look him up. I reckon he's worth a shout. While you're doing that, Paddy Carrigan, 1.7% ownership, averaging
I
20.
saw Paddy, yeah.
Same thing as Haas. They need minutes and wins. So.
He'll bottom out nicely as well with that score on the weekend off the back of Origin.
And then I'll throw you 2 more because I'm going to keep one up the sleeve. Taruva, 0.6% at Penrith. Holy crap. And Keanu Kinney, I think, is down to might even be under 1. So, I mean, obviously,
Brimson
can
is
take
one
him
they
back.
Brimson is one they could put on ice
I
if
know.
they're gone.
You take a flyer on him because he's a freak.
Yeah, it was the one before Kinney.
Taruva.
Taruva's
Under
an
1%,
interesting one, isn't he?
Right edge Penrith, we're expecting. Woo.
Far
Outside
out.
Nath. He might be nearly the pick of the lot.
539k. Gee, there's some options, isn't there?
Oh, no. Pretty exciting.
Antipod, Spide. I was going to say just as important. I'd say more important. If you want to make a move, the way I look at antipods as well and blokes with injury histories, not only can, if they score poorly, you get an opportunity to score well, but it's going to force people into a trade if they get injured. And if they do get injured and they have a low score, it's just a massive opportunity. I know ifs and buts and this and that, but for blokes with injury histories, and I'll start at number 1, and that's Tom Trbojevic, who's 55% ownership and rising rapidly. Injury history.
Yep.
It is there for all to see. Sorry's last 2 scores on return to fullback, 178 and 115 or something. But the Seagulls go the Roosters this week, who are coming off a loss and we very fired up, essentially full strength.
Yep.
Into a bye. They then have a soft run, but coincides with that Ponga's soft draw. So, in no way in the world am I going to turn someone down from Tom Trbojevic, because why would you? He looks outstanding. We know what he can do. But if we're talking antipods, what do you reckon?
You have a crack at doing it if you're in the position where you need that real point of difference to go, how am I going to catch some points up here? Maybe you're sitting 800th or maybe a 400th, and you're like, well, if I go mad, if special things happen, I could get right up the top here. He's your man, because, of course he could go down in the first 10 minutes as Tommy. No one wants to see that, and he looked humming last weekend, but unfortunately the injury history is there for all to see, as you said. We know how good he's playing, but he also had a couple of very soft weeks. Does that happen again? Maybe. Could get 170 again and destroy us, but he's already destroyed us. So do you want to jump on the back and, I think if you're sitting in if I'm sitting 20th or something and you really liked what you saw from Turbo, that's different because you're already right in the mix. You don't need to take risks.
Agreed. I think if you're right up there, you just take that risk out of it and you go, all right, Evan's jumping on Tommy. I can't afford to fall behind when I'm already in the hunt. Just get him.
I'll find another way to get up to 1 because I'm not that far off. But if you're sitting 400 or 500.
If he's 70% ownership by the time this weekend kicks off, you're not making any ground up really by having him.
And he's got to buy next weekend, so you can hopefully make up a bit of ground there.
He doesn't, this will be famous last words, he doesn't scare me that much against the Roosters. They're very good. He could ton, but so could every fullback.
Oh, bugger it. He doesn't scare me at all against the Roosters. I think he could score 80 or 90.
Yeah.
He could score 50 as well.
And then he has a bye. Then all of a sudden, if you've dodged into that point, obviously you're hurt by it enormously, but
it could
you get Ponga in, or non-owners get Ponga, I should say, and you get Ponga for that run. It's Ponga v Turbo.
He could get 50, 60 points in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He will be worth 900k, so you've got to accept you're probably letting him go for that soft run. And I looked today and I went, of course I want Tom. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But also I'm not in a position where I want to just, follow the herd and do the same thing. Got to have a bit of a crack here.
Yeah.
So I'll be definitely anti-potting Tommy. With some concerns. I sure hope the Raiders turn up at GIO in about 3 weeks' time. But yeah.
Post-bye, the run's great. He could go on an absolute tear, but look, hopefully Ponga can too. Hopefully Tedesco, if anyone sells him, because a few are selling Tedesco off. And I just think, if you and this is ballpark, but if you're 5,000 backwards, you sort of sit there and go, what have I got to lose?
Yeah. If I get him and it gets me 500 spots, I'm happy to go down with the ship,
Yeah.
Have a bit of a crack, and if it comes off, you can fly high. If it doesn't, whatever. But a goal kicking Ponga, surely he can't be that far behind. Watch him do his foot again now, but he was the best player in Supercoach to start this season.
What could go wrong? 25k overall's not that bad anyway. Anyway, who have you got for us?
I actually found this quite hard. I think Tommy's the pick of them, and I agree with what you say. You probably want to chase blokes with injury history and upside. That people are flocking to where you go, they could get hurt early in a game or put people in a position where they're short on trades. The 3 blokes I wrote down initially are all blokes who are rock solid but maybe lack a bit of upside. That's Kale Iro, Dylan Brown, and separate category, hold that third one. Iro and Brown, they're a bit hard to antipod because they're probably just going to average their 60-odd for the rest of the year. So you've got to get someone pretty damn good to make up the difference and make it worth the trade. But if it's someone with elite upside, I can see them as options to antipod. But gee, they're rock solid as well.
You've essentially, and I've got them both as holds as well. I don't own Iro, I own Dylan Brown, and I've got them jotted down. And Brown at 60%, 66% ownership. I had him on my list as well. Goes up against the Storm, Warriors, Panthers, Roosters, Broncos, Dragons, Tigers. It's an awful draw, all bar those last 2 games of the season. He's currently the second most sold player this season. If you're getting rid of Brown or Iro, as you said, they're going to average probably 60 to end the year. They could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more. If you're bringing someone in for them, they have to have a great draw that you go, no, I think their team's going on a tear, and I think they're going to average 85 plus.
85, 90 plus, 100%. If you're getting someone who probably averages 75, 80, well, it's not that many points.
Especially when you're taking the risk of selling 2 very durable players who are doing
They're both durable. That's the thing.
So I do think there's opportunity with Dylan Brown with that draw to come. However, 5'8", it's not really a position standing out at the moment.
That's it.
Who's your third?
Fanua Blake is the other one. This is where you're punting on a shutdown.
Yeah.
Because he's leaving the club next year. Warriors lose 1 or 2 more in quick succession. They're done. They're nearly already done. It's not good, but their faint hopes are alive. Surely his minutes probably regress. They might want to see him out, and he might want to say, boys, I want to finish strong for you, which I get. But if they've got young blokes they can play in that last month, it doesn't make sense to me.
They have a lot of young blokes.
Why would you be playing for Fanua Blake over them when you can prep them in games that don't necessarily matter?
Yeah.
That's my thoughts on AFB.
I agree, and I guess you look at it, I'd be very surprised if the Tigers did, the baby Tigers, the Tiger Cubs upset them this week. But I guess the draw's good then. It's each Tigers, Eels, Dolphins. So if they can jag even 2 of the 3 there, it probably keeps the hopes alive. That'll help Adam Fanua Blake owns. Yep. Also got the buy-in round 27. Could be tricky.
That last 4 weeks is probably the time. I'm not saying you need to put him right now. He's coming off a ton. He'll make cash, and he looked good last week. But yeah, in 3 or 4 weeks, you might, if you can keep one up the sleeve.
You're happy to hold the buy there's concerns around.
Yep.
Despite the price.
Yep. But I'm sort of looking at that in 3 weeks' time, if Warriors drop 1 or 2, pain ass. Thanks for coming. He just scored a ton for Fanua Blake. He's back on the up price-wise, so keep that up the sleeve.
My last one, mate, Jermaine Asako.
Beat me to it. Well done.
You got him? Yeah. From next week, not from this week. So it's 45.6% ownership. I'm an owner. I'm very tempted to put him on the chopping block from next week. The Titans this week, right edge, coming up against the Titans left. That'll be Jayden Campbell, Dave Fafita, Brian Kelly, Lofi Khan-Pereira. It's a tremendous matchup for Asako. He could go big. Yep. I think he's a hold this week, but from next week, with that draw to come, he's a great antipod.
I think he's my number 1 antipod at 45%. That run home, he sort of finds a way to score anyway, but I could see him averaging like 45, 50 through that period.
Doesn't he ever?
He always finds a way. And if he's not playing that well, he doesn't miss his goals. If he is playing well, he misses his goals. He must own himself, I reckon. He's like, I just got to...
I have a theory on what's happened with Asako this year to last year, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm about 80% certain of this, but Isaiah Katoa, player on the left edge this year, he's just sensational. We've spoken about him, his ability to dig in the line and just create space on his edge for his outside men.
Kieran Foran,
it is. It's all Jack Bostock on the left wing who's scoring the tries.
Place to be.
Last year... I can't remember how many games he played, but I believe at least before getting injured was Sean O'Sullivan on the left edge, and I think Isaiah Katoa was on the right, and Asako was just scoring tries for fun. But because he switched edges this year, and I don't know what happened after Sean O'Sullivan got injured, and they had a few different halves combinations at different times, but looking at the Dolphins, you just want to be on Katoa's edge.
Mate, I think Bostock's a pod.
Yeah.
He's a gun. Unfortunately... He's not it because that run home hurts. Yeah, that's from. But if they had a better run home, I'll be getting on the jack. But Dolphins, I think it might be maybe a fading the fins situation that last month or so, or from next week onwards, and maybe have a crack at them not scoring as many points they have been.
Guys, at the end of financial year, sales are upon us. If you've seen some cheap deals on a holiday or any new toys you're looking at grabbing but don't quite have the cash on you, Paddy and the team at Mortgage Choice SCW can help you out with some finance options and personal loans to make sure you have the cheapest rate possible to pay it back in your own time. So you might be sitting there freezing your backside off in the middle of winter in Australia, scanning Webjet for flights to Fiji or Bali while you're listening to this podcast right now. But you need a way to fund it. Now you have it. Alternatively, if you find yourself taking full advantage of those end-of-year sales and your credit card bills have got a little out of control, reach out to Paddy and the team to discuss a plan to look at some debt consolidation options. Whatever the end of the financial year means to you, the team at Mortgage Choice SCW are here to help. Usually, it'll sting you $129, but if you mention SC Playbook, it's completely free of charge. Fleet them a message on Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW or give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611, no matter where in Australia you are based. Spy, Hot Topics, most traded in and out players for NRL Supercoach round 21. Number 1, Nathan Cleary, 744k, 105 points on return from injury, dropped 60 grand for non-owners, 104 break even. Just get him in.
Knew I should have got him last week. Gut was telling me to do it. The maths told me not to, and the hammy.
It's still 105 points and he dropped $60,000. Like, it's not the end of the world.
I had Sammy Walker, who got 30. Anyway, yeah, straight in.
Yeah, I mean, I said the points, but it's a fair chunk of cash for 1 week. So,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's all right. I need some points. I don't need money.
me too.
Yeah, get him in.
Yeah, get him in. We've spoken about Tom Trbojevic. Can't knock the pie, but given reasons to potentially look against him and go that antipod route, particularly with the Roosters, into a bye for the Manly Seagulls. Number 3 on the list, Angus Crichton, 756k, 78 points per game for the season. He has a break-even of 75. Of course, he's a great buy. My question is, do you go now or do you wait till after the bye? Because the first thing I'll say is have a look at your team out there, and if you have a lot of Roosters players, that bye in a few weeks' time is going to be a little bit daunting. I can't quite go Olaquatu to Crichton this week whilst getting Cleary in as well, which is a shame. So if you can get him this week, lock him in, I think, Spy, and I think you're going to have the same opinion. But if you have to wait until next week, he's going to have one game, then a bye. I might have to wait a month, and it hurts me. Yeah,
we'll talk trade shortly, but I'm in a position where I held Olaquatu last week. I'm not selling him now. I think he'd be great for the run home.
Yeah.
My avenue to Angus Crichton is Pierce Paul, and I can't quite do it this week. So if I could, I'd do it though, absolutely. Next week's interesting. We might try that next week, but week before the bye, if you can cover him during the bye, I'd just get him anyway. I think, we saw it last weekend. If you wait on guns, they can just really hurt you. But in saying that, if you've got a chunk of Roosters in your side, you might not be able to cover him. So that's when you can afford to wait till after their bye.
Yeah, I'm reluctantly looking at waiting till after the bye at this stage. I think barring any changes and injuries that might occur. Number 5, Harry Grant, 622k, 65 point per game average, 78 break even. The thing I just wanted to touch on Harry Grant was that the fact that Bellyache backed him up with that sternum concern shows that it can't be that big a concern.
Look, on one hand, I really want him. On the other hand, Tyron Wishart is doing so much to stay in that side. Does he spell him over that last 6 weeks? If they're winning easy or they've got, top 2 locked up, they're in a pretty good spot just to not ease Harry into finals, but it's not like he has to play 80 every week. So
they'll have some blowout score lines.
That's my concern with Harry. He never lets anyone down. He's going to score well for you. But yeah, with Munster back, Wishart maybe around there somewhere. Does he spell him? I'm not sure.
He'll get a spell he'll get a rest at some stage. I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, if you own a hooker that's going to average you 60 odd, then I'm not sure I'd be going to Harry.
Weird position this hooker this year. Yeah. There's just 4 or 5 blokes who are all just doing pretty much the same thing.
Harry probably averages 70, 75 maybe, but might get a spell, might get some early rests. That probably evens out to about a 60, 65 in the long run. So he's a good buy. I'm just saying don't use a trade that you may need if you've already got a decent hooker.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Number 6, and a really interesting one, Casey McLean at 204k. He's 47 point per game average across his 2 games this season with a break-even of negative 27. Little to no attacking stats to his name. With Paul Alamotti out injured, McLean looks, I think, to have probably locked up this spot for the Panthers. He looks a pretty bloody good option to me.
With that base he's showing, we know Panthers left centre doesn't get a heap of ball this year, but if he's basing, 45, 50 odd attack at 204k, thanks for coming.
And
only if you need a downgrade, though. Again, don't just do it.
No, don't do it for the sake of doing it.
But yeah, if you're looking for someone to downgrade for cash, thanks for coming.
I want him, and I was real keen to do it to free up some cash for big trades next week. I can get Cleary in one hit this week. But the bloke that my CTUp's pretty stacked. The one that I'd have to move down for him is Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. I'm like, yep, sweet, that's easy done. Then I saw the Tigers side named. I'm like, oh, Dallon's a very tempting play in that game.
I can't comment on Dallon. I don't know what to say.
Probably better to say nothing than anything at all. I'm like, I just want to have my heart broken by him one more time this year.
You've come this far, why not?
I know. He owes me something.
He does.
I haven't played him in about 12 weeks. I think the only time I did play him was at fullback and he scored well.
If you do want to sell him, Roger's probably going to pop up on that right edge and not past. He was going
I
up
did
his
think
right
about
foot.
that.
So,
yeah. Number 7, Hamiso Tabuai-Fido, 639k, 123 points last weekend, 75 point per game average, 11 break even, available as dual CT dub fullback.
I think I'm going to go on the hell no category with their run home. He's got some good stuff in him, but Velvet Centre's interesting. But I just think there's so many good options. I'm happy. As I said, I'm pretty much happy to fade on the Finns for the run home.
You wouldn't touch him at fullback. The CT dub is the interesting one. And yeah, I've got some good stats around him for beers and break evens tomorrow. So tune into that one in my stat deep dive. Most traded out. Number 1.
I'm so glad you skipped number 8 for me. Thank you.
Number 8, most traded in, Damien Cook, 707k, 68 points per game average, 107 points, 58 break-even spy. He's caused you a few headaches since coming in.
Oh, no, he's been all right, but I sold him last week for Watson.
That wasn't even intentional.
The game started, and I'm like, oh, this is the game of touch footy. They're not laying in the ruck at all. Oh, no. Then he shifted to centre. I'm like, you beauty. He'd already had an early try assist. I'm like, you go to centre. He kicked 7 from 8, I think I said earlier, and he had that one where Leotau just dropped it cold and he went, thank you. And instead of just scoring or passing to his winger, which wouldn't have got him much, would have got him like 4 points for contribution, he just did enough to grab a bloke, offload, get the offload and the try assist, and then kick the goal. I'm like, you're killing me, man. But yeah, he looked good, Cookie. But the reason I sold was because Pete Memezoulos is his backup number 9 there. Bunnies lose this weekend. They're nearly a scratch as well. So Cook's leaving the Bunnies. Yeah, you shouldn't be buying him.
I agree. I don't think he's a buy at all.
I did sell him for a reason. I just went a week early.
I do think Connor Watson and even Harry Grant are much better buyers than Cookie.
Story of my year, actually, selling blokes a week early. I've done it about 3 times now.
And here's a fascinating one. Jayden Campbell, the most traded out player this week. 812k, a break end of 109. Mid-40s last week. Got a few nice little updates there, but not the best score. Really surprised me, this spy. They've got a good matchup against the, who is it this week? Dolphins.
Sunday.
It's a good matchup at Suncorp. There'll be plenty of points in it. Jayden Campbell, I wrote in my team analysis this afternoon. If you're moving him to Nathan Cleary and he's your only target route to him, or if you've got him at fullback and he's your only route to like Tom Trbojevic, okay, I get it. But surely try and find another way. What are you thinking?
Well, he got 42 last week. They got slaughtered. I don't think, because I missed all of the first half playing footy, they basically didn't have the ball in the second half. He missed both his kicks, which he kicked about 15 in a row before that. If he kicks 2 from 2, he's on mid-50s without doing anything. So Manly dominated. I really want to hold him. I can understand the trade to Cleary. Many people some might have him at fullback and going straight to Tommy Trbojevic. But again, you've already missed his 170. We spoke about it before. It depends where you're ranked. I'm happy to roll with Jayden for another couple of weeks. He can flick to Ponga in a few weeks if need be.
And even you look at the 109 break even, he could hit that.
Easily achievable. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
So, no, I really like owning him.
Put it this way, sorry. A week ago I was terrified of not owning him and he'd hurt me. A week later everyone's trading. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and maybe it's the Tommy Cleary factor, but again,
maybe it is.
I think the thing is this week, figure out where you're ranked and do you need Tommy? To be very clear, we're not saying don't get Tommy. We're just saying if you're sitting back or if you're in a position where you really want to chase points and have a crack, do something different. Yeah, it's late in the year. It's an interesting one, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, utterly terrifying in a few weeks, Tommy, but have a crack.
I mean, for the record, I'm a bloke who at the start of the year went on this podcast and spruiked that I don't think Tommy's 143 season average from 2021 was necessarily an outlier.
We said 110.
And I started with him and I stuck with him and said he'd average 110 or something. Yeah. So,
yeah, we're Tommy fans. We're just saying in the context of Supercoach and fantasy, decide how you want to attack it. There's still some value in getting Tommy. He'll score well and you might be able to make up ground elsewhere. So that's an avenue, but don't just blindly jump to Tommy. Because
of the score.
Just because everyone's doing it because he scored it well. Because he might not do it again.
Roosters by injury history.
It's a tough couple of weeks.
Number 3, Tyron Wishart, 407k profit for the season, 646k. Job done, sir. Well done. You'll become Nathan Cleary.
Tell you what, you shouldn't have told anyone about that bloke. You could own him on your own.
Yeah, well,
A couple months ago. He's lucky you're a good bloke.
I'm a good bloke. I'm transparent with it. You ride the highs with me, you ride the lows with me. James Tedesco, this one's done me. Number 7 most traded in. Most traded out.
Traded out, yeah.
951k, break even for 125. One poor score against the Storm. Surely not.
Let's look at this run. Dolphins, Para, Gold Coast, Canberra, South. I think you might want to hold him, guys and girls.
Why are people... I'll tell you why. People looking at last week's score, they're moving him to Tom Trebojevic, and they're moving whoever their half is or 5'8" up to Nathan Cleary, and it funds it. There's got to be a better way, doesn't there?
What's he go? He goes Manly and Finns. No, you can't do it.
Yeah.
Even last week, so it started raining just on kickoff, which was a shame. He nearly scored that try off Connor Watson. Short ball, went through like half beat 2 and Melbourne scrambled, got him under the sticks. Would have scored any other time. He had 2 nice little near line break assists where someone chopped him late. Even in a game where he had no footy and no tackle busts, he looks so good still. Like athletically, he's moving as well as he has in years. So bugger it. Everyone sell Teddy. Do it.
The other thing is,
I want him to myself.
The other thing is that loss last week, it just adds fuel to the fire for the Roosters.
Yeah.
Puts them a point clear of Manly in 4th place. You know, they're 2 points clear. Far out, crazy lad. They're 2 points.
It is.
2 points clear of the Dragons in 9th.
Insane.
They've got a bye to come, but like, what?
It's what a comp this is.
But like, they're the sort of things that go, maybe they do lose one at some point or whatever. And
also, they got a bye in round 23. Love your thoughts on this. I don't think they rest anyone in the lead up to the finals. 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 weeks to play.
I think they'll roll into it, yeah.
Because
Bunny's
otherwise,
in
I
round
was thinking
27.
last night, Bunny's round 27. Round 23 off, 24, 5, 6, 7. Let's say they rest 26 or 27. Then you play week 1 finals. You can then get a week off. There could be 3 buys in like 8 weeks. They can't be resting.
The only way to be, I think, is if there's anyone with concerning niggles.
Of course, if they need a rest, different. But yeah, so I'm all in on the Chookies post-buy. Know about 7 of them.
Number 10, Jerome Hughes at 771k, most sold. 25 points on the weekend, really came back to the pack. But Spies averaging 76 points, 123 break even. You sold Sam Walker last week. You held him. So
I have a decision this week.
You have a decision this week. Jerome Hughes has been unbelievable this season. I can't see why he'd be getting sold.
Yeah, got Para into Saints into South.
What?
What you will find is in round 24 when he has Penrith as well, Sammy Walker has like someone unbelievable. So you might be a little straight swap on there. But for now, that's a hell of a run home.
Surely,
he did get a cork at one point last week. So
surely you just run the Cleary-Hughes combination home.
For now. And then, have a look at things.
Number 15, Hamali Olakuatu, 652k, 71 point per game average. Suspended for 2 weeks with a bye wedged into that. So he's got 2 more weeks out. I decided to hold Spy. You decided to hold. I'm not going to sit here and say that if he's your ticket to Angus Crichton in one hit this week, I'm okay with that. I can't quite do it. So I'm just going to hold. And Manly have a great draw when he returns. I can cover him in that time. I'm just going to stick with the big
if you
fella.
get into Gus, that's fair enough because Angus Crichton is, in my opinion, a must-have, especially the way he's offloading. He's
unbelievable.
Far out. So, but if you can hold Olakuatu, it's like an attacking hold. While everyone sells off, I want to hold and then post-buy, hopefully reap the benefits.
Just trades. We're getting very low.
Yep.
Mate, your trades and skippers going into round 21. Kick us off with your trades. What are you thinking?
All right. Could be good, this. First one's pretty easy. Sammy Walker to Nathan Cleary. Shore up those halves. Obviously, Sammy Walker with a bye coming up shortly. I want him back for the last month, pending how Jerome Hughes is looking. But offload him for now, Sammy. Get Nathan in. The other one, he who will not be named, Bulldogs former halfback, still sitting there, could go down to Casey McLean.
Goodness.
Could go to McLean. However, there's a chance he survives another week because there's someone I really, really, really want. It's Dane Laurie. Edwards out for, is it 3 more weeks, potentially?
It was 2 to 4 weeks, wasn't it?
Latest news was...
I think the latest I heard was 4 weeks, so 3 left.
The Penrith run over the
Not
next
locked
3
in,
weeks.
Not locked in.
Laurie's averaging like about 100 at fullback. His running stats are like 45 running points a game with tackle busts, offloads, attacking stats, he's absolutely killing it at like minimal ownership. I wouldn't mind a piece of the pie for 3 weeks. And this is why I save trades.
You get him at 5'8" as well.
5'8" as well. So we can bring him. Look at his scores here. So just go down to number 1 there. He had a game at fullback. Then he came in and went 128, 111. And I believe he got that 64 at fullback as well. But he just doesn't stop running and tackle busting and offloading. Outside Cleary and Luai.
Yeah.
Into St George, Newcastle, Para. I really want that Para match if I was to get him. So, I have an issue, though. I don't know who to sell. Not selling Tedesco. Don't really want to sell Jayden Campbell. Could sell one of Brown or Galvin in at 5'8" and put him straight there with a view to flip Jayden Campbell to 5'8" in a few weeks and Ponga in.
I sold Galvin last week. Or, no, I think it might have been the week before. I can't remember. And... No, it was last week to Cherry Evans. That worked out well. Good one. But long term, I'm happy with it. And I'm actually Galvin's incredible and he turned up last week. But even now, looking at the amount of outs they've got in their side,
get battered.
a few
It's hard
tougher
for him.
games, I'm just like, I think long term that's going to be a good move.
I can do it for
quite
profit.
confident of it. I think Galvin to Laurie, if you're that keen on Laurie,
Maybe do it.
Go for it.
Flip Jayden up to 5'8".
Like, if we look at the Tigers' run to come, so obviously the Warriors over there this week, that's going to be very tough. Cowboys, Knights, Rabbits, Manly, Eels, far out. It's a good run home, isn't it?
If I do that, I can also play Sam Hughes as my 17th because holding Olakawatu, I've got Jaden Brayley, Pierce Paul, Joe Chan's out, suspended, Marju's on the bye, got he who must not be named in the centres. I can actually run a free loop this weekend, which is pretty fun as well.
Getting low, mate.
Yeah. 11 trades. A few blokes in the bank next week. Could maybe do that. The other one is just hutch down to McLean and play McLean.
Yeah. The concern is just still in Edwards. I had a look at Laurie and I was relatively keen on him, and then they said 2 to 4 weeks. I'm like, 2 to 4 weeks, could be missing this week and then back the following week potentially.
So I'll look up some news, but the latest I saw yesterday was a bit longer than I was thinking. So I will confirm that. Obviously not going to do it if there's any risk Edwards is back next week, but tell you what, my mate Matty Ryan captained Dane Laurie last weekend.
Did he?
Didn't just own him, he captained him, and he's within 110 points of me. I'll have to match the bastard. He can't catch me.
Well played.
Signed for Roma, by the way.
Yeah.
How cool's that?
Serie A. Exciting times.
Very good.
For myself, Tyron Wishart to Nathan Cleary, locked and loaded. Again, squad's good this week. I can't get to Angus Crichton in one hit. I could tease the Terrell May to Payne Haas one. That's pretty exciting.
It is exciting.
So I could do that.
Plenty of trades up the sleeve there.
Yeah, so I boosted last week.
Yep.
So I've got some money in the bank.
Yep.
I've got 10 left coming into this week.
I reckon do it.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding Terrell. He's got to buy soon.
Just a good opportunity. Because the other one was I could go Dallin down to Casey McLean, which pretty handy little 6-7 CTW to have there McLean.
It's very handy.
Yeah, and
a
it'd
lot
free
of
up
coin.
about 230 odd K. So that's tempting as well, and that'll free up. That frees up a lot of funds for me. So I've still got a bit in the bank as well for Crichton in coming weeks. For Ponga's going to be dirt cheap. So, yeah, they're my two sort of probably major options at the moment. Your skippers?
Before I do that, there's something playing out right now, and it's a few blokes I've been chatting to have gone really hard on trades in the last 4 weeks. Like, actually said to me, like, I'm doing this. I'm going all in. One guy's got 1-2 trades left.
Yeah.
He's gone from 5K to 800. But then where's he going to end up? I've done the opposite. And we get to watch in real time what's going to unfold. And I'm actually looking forward to it because, A, I really love and respect that they've gone bang and found their way into the top 1,000. I've said it every week last few weeks, this year I really think there's going to be an opportunity to make some serious ground in those last 4 weeks, which why I've been so reluctant to trade sideways. Where's it going to end up? We get to watch. I love it because I've got the bloke's team.
It's fun.
He's going to see where it ends up. I'm going to see if I can track him down. It's just going to be good to see.
Well, there's a lot of top-ranked people out there sitting there with
Next
2,
to
3,
nothing.
4 trades left. And like I preach it all year. It's just unfortunate that I'm coming from 14K where a big run might be 5K rather than like if I was 6, 7K now, I'd be like with depth and trades, I can make a run to the top 1,000. I've just got myself too bloody far back. Yep. But we'll see.
I'm sitting there. And it will be crucial for next year because we'll watch this unfold. And if I don't make that much ground, I go, well, next year,
you're right.
Bugger it. This time next year, I'll go hard. Whereas if it plays out how I hope it will, I can say, nah, I was right. I might not have played as well as I should have this year and made the right trades all the time. But yeah.
Fascinating finish.
It's good stuff. Good stuff anyway.
Skippers.
So trades and skippers. Sorry, just skippers. We got... I'd never really look at VC too hard, but skipper-wise, it's Teddy versus Cleary. I think I might go Cleary, but also probably want to do whoever's less owned out of the two. Manly worry me a bit. They were pretty good last week. I know they were playing the Titans who struggled.
I wouldn't worry about ownership too much, Spy. Firstly, I think they're going to probably be pretty similar ownership around that 50 to 60 mark by the time the first game of the week rolls around.
I find them hard to split. That's why I need a nice
okay.
Just Manly, they're going all right. I feel like they're about to surge, but Teddy's Teddy. Saturday night, I'll actually be there. I think I'm going to go to the game. So that being the case, Teddy, if I'm at the game.
I like Cleary. I think the Panthers full strength, Sunday afternoon. The odds are there. The line for this game was like 10.5 something. I think the Panthers are going to blitz them. Like their full team back on deck, Cleary back on deck.
I'm scared to say anything about Saints because one week they lose by 30, next week they win by 20. They're hard to predict.
Penrith are a different beast though, and they say, Dragons beat them last time. It was in the Origin week, and they had the baby Panthers in there.
I do think Penrith are about to hit the NOS.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I am thinking Cleary, and I'm thinking VC Ryan Pappenhausen against the Parramatta Eels. Matty, trades and skippers. What are you thinking, mate?
Yes, well, I'm definitely getting rid of Edwards. That is, I'm sitting with 900k on my bench for the second week in a row, and I'll get in Turbo for him. And I haven't thought about the second one yet, but I've got a couple of days.
Skippers?
Okay, let me have a look. I probably will just captain Turbo because I just really want Manly to beat the Roosters. So that'll be like a real fun watch.
Enjoy, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
If I can do this free loop, I can just VC Teddy into Cleary, actually. So I'll check that out as well.
Right, you can.
That could be very fun.
A few questions before we wrap it up. And one from Daniel Morrison. Hey, guys. Hope all is well. Spy, I'll go first on this, and you can have a think about it because I put you on the spot. Who's been your quiet achiever this year? A player you've started with and had early, who's done a job all year and rarely gets the spotlight or praise. Mine is Beau Fermor. He says he's averaged 57, including games at centre, still scores well there, now has the dual positioning, really handy for the run home. Keen to hear yours. For me, it's Reece Robson. In a hooker position where people have burned a lot of trades this year. I started with him from round one, and granted, he had a few rests over the Origin period which weren't ideal. He's just caused me no headaches all year. Not many big scores in there, but very few low scores, and hooker just hasn't been a headache for me all year because of the durability and big minutes of Reece Robson.
Shout out to Josh Curran for me, started in the front row. Yeah. Or I got him round 2 or something, but he's just doing a job, and it looks like with this injury to Maxi King last weekend, he was the main dog up front there. So he could be so good for the run home, but to now, what's he averaging me? 58.4, front row, just doing a job all year.
Yeah.
Kind of blokes you need around the side. Doing a job for the Bulldogs in real life as well. So
Toilers.
Shout out to Joshy Curran.
One from Super Rugby League, and this is a good question. With consistently, we've spoken about it before, and it's always fascinating, but in a year where I can't get a skipper right, it's never run more true. With consistently good captaincy choices being a rarity this season, is there merit in picking the same player to captain all season long and knowing you'll have a 70 averaging captaincy choice rather than chasing players with good matchups? I'll go one more than that and say, if you just captain Nathan Cleary from round one or Nico Hines or James, whoever the best fullback is, whatever it might be,
85
you're probably looking at 85. You can also then maybe 2 or 3 games of the year not captain said player against Penrith or against the Roosters.
The gum couple.
You're probably looking at that 85 mark. Prior to this year, I think we had a question earlier on in the year, and I said something like, I think we both like, you could, it's just boring and whatnot, but it makes sense. The skippers I've had this year, I sit there and go, boring choice, but there's merit to it.
I haven't started with a good skipper for 2 years, and I've tried picking the bloke I thought was going to go the best. It was Ponga this year. I think he started with 50-50. It was Teddy last year, 50-50. I'm trying, mate. It's not working.
But at some point, you must have got off said player and they've gone big. And
yeah, I dropped Ponga. for his first 100. But yeah, no, I quite like it, and I think next year I really want to consolidate those opening 10 weeks. Right, just do stuff like that and just bank and bank, but we'll see. I don't mind it, but as I said, I also quite like the idea of chasing, you know. All right, you haven't Captain Turbo a year, he's got the Titans Sunday over.
Yeah.
We saw what happened last weekend. You do that and boom, through the roof. So.
I'd love to say I'd do it, but I just never will. Yep. I can't go against an upside player against a soft opposition.
But we also take upside players who are the top 3. It's not we don't just go full rogue.
Yeah. One from Troy Ellington, coming in at 295th overall. Good going, Troy boy. Just traded in Shane Walker. The interesting move at this time of year. Sam Walker to Cleary, leave me 5 trades for the run home. I'm pretty set with depth for the run home. Have I shot myself in the foot with only 5 left? How do you rate Troy's positioning, Spy?
I mean, not a bad spot. You have a couple more than a lot of people around him.
Especially with depth.
5 left after this. Yeah, I think you're going all right.
Like, he's short, but he's also in striking distance, so...
I reckon that's not a bad spot to be.
Yeah, no, I reckon you're going all right, mate. If you've got those depths, try and bank a couple of them, and if shit does hit the fan later on in the season with injury suspensions and whatnot, and you've got a few left there that you've saved, you're a chance. Next one from... Let's go with Kevin Miles, and we'll tie 2 into this. Actually, let's go one from Benny Carter first. Who's more important this week, Nathan Cleary or Tom Trbojevic? Can only get one.
I'll take Nath.
Yeah, I agree.
Turbo's bye next week.
I think Nath as well. And just the matchups, Dragons and Roosters, very, very different matchups.
Yeah, for sure.
Kevin Miles, this is a big one. Who to trade for Nathan Cleary? And I'm going to tie into a part 2 on this because everyone's different. He says Cody Walker or Dylan Brown. Who would you trade out of those 2?
Cody Fish by a length of the straight.
You trade Cody out for Dylan Brown?
Gone. Not goal kicking anymore. South, sorry, Matty, probably on the out. Yep. I'll just
Eagles are coming last.
Yeah, but Brown, he's the centrepiece. Runs, tackles, he has to do everything.
Cody not goal kicking actually improves his points though.
Yeah, I know. +4.
Cody's got a 3-round average of 73. They've got a...
Look who he played.
It's pretty tough run.
Yeah, look who he played though. Para Dolphins, Tigers.
Yeah, and then he has Raiders this week's fine, but then Sharks, Storm, Tigers, Knights, Panthers, Roosters.
Thanks for coming, Codes.
But the Eels' draw is horrible as well.
Yeah, but Brown doesn't worry, Brownie.
Oh, it's tough.
Confident as on that one. Who wants to bet me?
I'd hold Cody Walker.
All right. Last 6. All right. End of the year, we'll go from this one.
No,
Definitely
I'm not confident enough, so there's no bets on it. One from James. Like most, who makes way for Cleary? This one is Dylan Brown, Lockie Galvin, Jayden Campbell, or Jerome Hughes.
No, it's not. It's not ideal. It's not Jayden. It's not Hughes. I'm actually really tempted to hold Galvin over Brown because it's fun and he's doing everything. But the thing about Brownie, he just plays nearly every game. His bad games are 45. He's got 80s in him. Oh, I don't like that situation. Galvin or Brown, toss a coin. I don't know which one.
I'm Galvin quite comfortably.
Yeah.
I just think there's been some higher ones for Galvin, but there's also been some lower ones. And I just think, as I said, for the reasons you like before to hold Brown, I also like them.
Yeah. And I said last week on Galvin, he's killing it, but he's 18. I could easily say, mate, put the feet up the last few weeks.
The Tigers could absolutely throw in the towel.
Yep.
And I might sound hypocritical with the whole Galvin v Cody Walker thing, but I just see more attacking upside in Cody Walker and the Bunnies right now than I do Galvin. So
fair enough.
That's how I'd go with that one. Next
Galvin's
one.
base is just crazy. That's the
Yeah, he's a good guy.
That's why I love him.
One from Martin Haddajareen. Thoughts on downgrading KL Iro to Casey McLean?
Yeah, if you're funding up cash and you aren't planning on playing Iro all that often, sure. Again, team dependent. If he's like your 6th centre or something, yeah, if you need 6
You've got trades up the sleeve as well, certainly. Like, I get it.
It's an attacking
you can free
move.
up a lot of money, get away from a highly owned player.
Yeah. McLean.
Iro is one where if you are in that sort of sub 5-6 trade category, just hold him because he's such a rock solid player with soft matchups. Yeah.
Good run as well. But yeah, if you want to make an attacking play, McLean in, and then you're obviously getting a hell of a gun elsewhere.
Paul Catterin, if you already had a stat 2RF but no Angus, and there's a few out there that have sort of 5 or 6 gun 2RFs, is it still worth getting him or should we prioritise elsewhere?
I think Angus is a must. I think you have to have him.
He's the best in the position, give or take Dave Fafita. I'm with you. I think you just have to get him. It can wait till after the bye, but He's the man.
I do really want him this week. I'd have to forego Cleary. But yeah.
Yeah. So let's wrap that one up for NRL Supercoach 28 round. Oh, how good am I going? Round 21.
Yeah, good.
Cheers, mate.
Good pod. I reckon we're back.
You reckon?
Something in the air.
I've been saying that for 20 weeks, mate, and I'm getting further down the rankings, so we'll see. Matty, cheers, mate.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck this weekend.